Welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce, Ulasnagar 4, Digital Platform for Learning and Teaching, Edupedia. I'm here, Assistant Professor Komal Kamra, to give a gist on the topic Planning and Decision Making, which comes in BMS course, first year BMS, semester 2nd, under the subject Principles of Management and Module 2. Let's begin. Whenever we are talking on the lines of planning, directly, indirectly, knowingly, unknowingly, we are answering 5 W's and 1 H. Whether it is a personal life decision, whether it is a professional decision, whether it is an academic decision or corporate decision, whether it is belonging to production, marketing, finance or any of the functions of management. Say 5 W's. What is to be done? Why it is to be done? When it is to be done? Where it is to be done? Who is going to do it? And ultimately, how to do. That is the correct procedure. As we discussed, it is one of the important functions of management like planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, coordinating. Planning occupies the topmost position. That's why we are answering to 5 W's and 1 H. Let us try and understand how it is being defined or how it can be understood in a better way. The management function, planning, the management function that assesses the management environment to set future objectives. Here, management environment is being assessed. We can say environmental analysis for the purpose of setting future goals to be achieved. Maps out activities necessary to achieve those objectives. As we discussed what is to be done, that means a series of activities, number of activities to be done to achieve those objectives, targets or goals. Now, planned actions require careful resource allocation. Whenever a company is planning, a manager is planning, he has to analyze the environment within and outside. And he has to consider all the resources available to him for the purpose of achieving the relevant objectives. So, plans must be accompanied by implementation guidelines. For example, we are dreaming, we are planning to do this, do that, but we are not coming into action. That means our plans are simply fairy tales, or we can say it's a nightmare. But if we, along with the plan, along with the concrete objective, we are chalking down, drafting down the methods, the techniques, the resources to be utilized and follow up of the plan, then it gets converted really into an action. Now, there are a variety of types of plans. One is plans related to policies. What are the policies of the company? Procedures, what methodology, stages, phases are being followed to perform certain actions. Methods, systematic patterns, rules for the purpose of discipline and many more things. Programs, that is certain plans which are projected and converted into a certain program. Budgets, of course, unless we decide upon, we plan about the budgets, how much is to be spent and how much it can be extracted out of the completion of the plan is very important. Even governments, they prepare budgets every year related to each and every sector of the economy. And keeping in the view about objectives. So, it is also a type of, when we are setting objectives, it is a type of plan. When we are setting strategies, it is also a type of plan. That means plan includes all these activities. After a sensible planning work, we are moving on the lines of decision making. But before moving to this, let us try and understand what is the planning process. How a manager at any level can follow certain steps for the purpose of setting a decent plan, or we can say a feasible plan which is practically possible. Before moving into planning, the first step is we have to determine the situation, analyze the situation. For this, we have to undergo the studying of past, present and future. What happened in the past if we took a particular decision, or what was the flaws or plus or minus of the past plans, or what is the current situation, why the planning is required. After situation analysis, we are supposed to evaluate the goals. Whatever the situation may be, we have to match it or compare it with the goals we already have set. So we have to evaluate goals to be achieved. Then to achieve those goals, we are going to take care of the risk involved in follow-up of those plans. That is called as assessment of risk. After risk is being assessed, we are ready now with all the information and we can now create a plan. Not only this, after creating the plan, framing the plan, drafting the plan, we have to implement it. We have to prepare a plan how that basic master plan will be implemented. That is, we can say the follow-up. Follow-up, implementation or application of the said plan. After implementation, planning process, whether we underwent it was right or wrong, we are supposed to revise, review and revise plan, so that to know what was correct, what was incorrect. Wherever we go wrong, there must be scope of changes. After planning, effective planning, the next step is decision making. Whenever we are talking on the lines of decision making, it is related to selecting the best alternative amongst available alternatives or possible solutions, maybe to a problem, to a situation. So, decision making is deciding out of the available resources, out of the available solution options, and follow those. Let us try and see with the help of this diagram. Decision making, it is based on alternatives, that we must have various options. If we have only single option, we don't have any choice to make a decision. There must be choices. That's why alternatives are the basis of good decision making. Second thing, we are supposed to consider all the uncertainties before selecting alternatives. What can happen? That may be a positive happening, that may be a positive, maybe a negative impact. Next is high risk consequences. Before choosing the best alternative amongst available alternatives, we will be taking critical care of the consequences and the high risk. Consequences relates to the results, the outcome. Before taking any decision, we will definitely think on the lines of what will be the result, what will be the reactions, that is the consequences. It is including interpersonal issues. Decision may be related to interpersonal issues, complexities of the business, complexities of the products, complexities in marketing, and many more areas a business is carried out. See, planning and decision making both go hand in hand. Let us try to understand, for effective decision making, we must have a concrete or a good plan. So here are certain essentials of a good plan. How we can call this plan to be good or bad or useful or less useful. So we require simplicity. Plan should be simple. Here simplicity is related to simple to frame, simple to understand, simple to follow, and simple to evaluate. These four simplification steps we are supposed to follow. Another essentials of a good plan is the objectives must be made very much clear, with the objectives which are to be achieved at a future date. Another thing, suitability. The plan must be suitable to the organization's current resources, organization's human resources. If it is not suitable to what we exactly are doing, then the plan cannot be called as a good plan. Flexibility. There must be provisions of making changes whenever required, because future is always uncertain. If we plan for something today and that plan is to be implemented after 6 months, after the long procedures, the situations may change. So our plan must be flexible enough to allow the changes or circumstantial changes or situational changes to take in. Next is continuity. Plan must not be discontinued, or the planning should be in the continuous process. One plan is over, let us plan for the another thing. There must be continuation of direction of plans, purposes of plans, and achievement of the objectives. Next is comprehensive, unity of purpose and direction. There must be unity of purpose and direction in the plan. Things should not go directionless. Whomsoever is related directly or indirectly with the plan, they must be united in the purpose or objectives. That means every department must keep the same common objective, which is the main objective of the good plan, and they should move on those lines. Next is comprehensive and complete. Here comprehensive relates to covering all the possible prospects, covering all the possible areas, available resources and many more things. That is called as comprehensive. And complete in sense so that it helps us or it gives us complete instructions, complete guidance, and it can get completed easily. Next is full use of resources and opportunities. A good plan must take care of the availability of resources, utilization of resources and opportunities available in front of the manager. Everything is being considered in a good plan. Next is beneficial to all the concerned. A good plan must possess this essential. It must be beneficial to all the concerned parties, all the concerned people and the company. Now let us again relate decision making with planning. There are various types of decision making. One is programmed, another is non-programmed, routine and strategic, organizational and personal, policy and operational decisions, individual and group decisions, major and minor decisions. The name itself suggests program and unprogrammed. Program means planned systematically. Unprogrammed means all of certain things happen and we have to take certain decisions. That is called as non-programmed decision. Routine and strategic. Routine means how the company will operate on daily basis, that is being considered, and strategic specifically based on certain strategies. Organizational and personal. There can be organizational plans and personal plans of managers or employees to achieve the common targets. Policy. What are the policies? Pattern of behavior and operational decisions, the activities decision, the cost of operations and many more things. This is also a type of decision making. Individual and group decisions. There may be groups working together as team spirit or a team. They may take collective decisions for the betterment or upliftment of their group or organization or their department. Individual, when a single person takes decision, that is called as a type of individual decision making. The last is major and minor decisions. There may be certain critical conditions. In that critical conditions or situations of business, one can go for taking major decisions which will bring in major changes in the company. We can say those are the key decisions, and minor decisions, smaller decisions which add on to a bigger impact. Now, let us try and understand the decision making process. How can we take effective and correct decisions and timely decisions? First is understand the situation. Before taking or moving into a particular decision or in a direction, we should start scratching our brain by understanding the situation. What the situation is demanding. Whatever companies may project or have plans of future development or upliftment, but currently what the situation a company is undergoing, it is to be analyzed. After that, defining the problem. The decision maker or the manager has to define the problem in detail. Then, along with definition of the problem, description of the problem, objectives are be described, what the objectives company is keeping in mind and moving ahead. So those objectives must be matched with the problem, or problem must be solved by moving on the lines of objectives achievement. Both cannot be separated. Next step in decision making process is diagnose the problem. Here it wants to say diagnosing refers to analyzing the problem in detail and trying to know the causes of that particular situation. Then develop alternatives. Whenever there are problems and problems are being diagnosed, we have to develop alternatives, various alternatives to solve that same common problem. Because one problem may not have one solution only. It may possess or it may have multiple solutions. In real life as well, we have multiple solutions to a single common problem. Next step is evaluate alternatives. Under the fifth process we develop various alternatives. Now it is our foremost duty, important duty to evaluate whatever alternatives we have generated or created, or we have studied or kept aside. So evaluation refers to every single alternative is being taken critical care of. An in-depth study is to be done of available alternatives, and then seventh step comes, that is choosing the best alternative. Amongst the available and possible to implement alternatives, we will be selecting the best one. The best one is which is practically possible at the moment or during that particular situation. Then implement alternative. If we are choosing the best alternative and it is working out, it's okay. We can go for the follow-up of what we discussed, what we did, and what we have achieved. But if there are some problems or failures to the alternative selected to solve that problem, we may implement another alternative, taken or treated as a backup plan or the backup alternative. Now let's try and understand what exactly the term strategic management, strategic decision making. Because when we are associating any management function along with the term strategic, it becomes specific. Specific in terms of scientifically, logically, systematically. This is called as strategic, which is based on critical policies and plans. Strategy always involves two things, policies and plan. Let us see how strategic decision making process works. More or less it is the same thing, but we are focusing on the strategic area. One is identification of problem, identify the problem. Second is information processing, collect information, process it, information related to the problem. Then identification of the options. We are supposed to identify the options available with us so that we can choose the best option for the purpose of solving the problem. Then is isolating a choice. Isolating a choice means we may have number of alternatives or choices. We are supposed to pick the one which is best and practically possible at that moment. That is called as selection of a particular choice or alternative. Then after selecting, we are immediately supposed to implement that particular idea or that particular choice or alternative to solve the problem. And after that, we are supposed to improve, keep on improving via continuous feedbacks or evaluation. Evaluation can be self-evaluation, can be group evaluation, can be evaluation with the help of feedback forms, and many more methods are being followed in that. Next is methods of decision making. We can make decisions. There are two aspects or two factors which are a part of decision making. One is the risk being taken and the time being taken for that particular decision or decision making. One is to command. We are supposed to command. Keep giving orders, instructions. That is commanding. Then it comes consulting. First try to command. Then consult people. Know their ideas. Initiate them. Encourage them to initiate ideas and various solutions. Then vote. Vote refers to when there are many people and there are multiple choices related to making a decision, more alternatives are available, then there can be followed a voting system in which employees will vote against or in favor of a particular decision. Then is consensus, that is counting. After voting, definitely the next step is counting of votes favoring a particular decision, counting of votes unfavoring particular decision. Next is MBO. In a nutshell, I would like to explain you the term MBO. MBO refers to a systematic process in which superior subordinates, they collectively set organizational goals, share their own values or divide work among themselves by their own willingness and go for work or achievement of that particular objective and decide periodic review with the help of meetings and implementation or give an overview or feedback. If they go correct, they will continue the MBO process with some other decision. If they get stuck at some point, they may revise the particular process. So, MBO is a process in which superior subordinates, they meet, collectively share responsibilities, collectively share the objectives or part of objectives. Let us see what are the elements. First is job related objectives. We are supposed to set the objectives which are related to the job. growth objectives, task and project, targets we are supposed to check, values we are supposed to study in detail, what values the company is following, that means what are their basic ethical principles, behavioral parameters, how we want, how much or which type of behavior is expected, how much level of decency to be followed, and ultimately the performance appraisal, appraising someone's performance. The last area of this particular planning and decision making is process of MBO. Let us try and see how this works. First of all, MBO is management by objectives, a very simple process connecting two parties. First party is the manager, second party is the subordinates. They in together collectively follow the first step called as setting organizational objectives. They collectively, with the help of each other's ideas, experience, knowledge sharing and many more processes, one-to-one talks, they are setting organizational objectives. Collectively, when superior subordinates set certain objectives, they collectively divide those objective related duties to each other. Setting subordinates objectives. First, company is setting, the managers are setting company's objectives, then they are setting the subordinates objectives, those who are interested in coming or coming along with their new ideas or work patterns, they are supposed to setting subordinates objectives. They are also given certain objectives and they accept those objectives or targets happily or with a high morale. After acceptance of objectives by the subordinates, there is a particular pattern fixed to be called as monitoring. Here monitoring relates to keeping an eye over the objectives given to the employees. Whether the employee is performing correctly or not, whether he has understood the trainers or the manager's instructions or guidelines, or has he been in touch with the team who has planned a particular thing, that means monitoring. After monitoring, evaluation is done. How much percentage work was expected, how much percentage work has been done successfully without any error. Then after evaluation, it is very important HR function to decide for the rewards of those who have performed very well in the process of MBO and those who have achieved higher results and upgraded the company status internationally. So that is called as reward. After rewards, let us try to use this particular thing, recycle. Recycle refers to if MBO process once is successful, why not to keep it rotating again and again and again. So it is to be taken care that MBO process goes viral and every company, every departmental manager is accepting and welcoming his subordinates and performing tasks collectively. Here I wind up my presentation on the topic planning and decision making. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time.